I could feel myself sliding into, oh my God, oh my God.
Hi, welcome to the Middle Manager Mastery, the show that helps managers to move from execution to influence through stronger EQ, high productivity, and much bigger impact. I'm your host, Shruti, and each week I sit down with senior corporate leaders, founders, and experts to unpack the tools that move you from being a manager to a leader. Real conversations, honest insights, no fluff. Welcome.
There's a lot coming at people these days. There's a lot of distraction. And so focusing in the time of distraction is not as easy for everybody. And of course, you must be knowing Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, which talks a lot about focus. In an everyday life, it's sometimes not as easy to just focus because there is things which are coming at you which are urgent. And so, how do we do some of that? How do we deal with some of that? So both in terms of one, how our minds work when we have so much distractions coming our way, how do we shift it to focus? And how do we reduce the context switching costs as much as we can?
That sounds good. Obviously, it's all related to the brain. Mindset shifts, distraction, whatever it might be, is related most of the time. There is some neuroscience implication that points to why we are either distracted or why we're focused. So I think the first place where I'd like to go in terms of how can we focus more is related to the networks of the brain. So there's the task positive network, which is actually it's called the focus network. And then there is the default mode network, the other network, which is about mind wandering. It's about distractions. It's about visioning, dreaming. And it's the time traveler of the brain. So the networks help us go to the past and help us go to the future. So the default mode is implicated in that time travel. So anytime when we are self-reflecting, pondering, what did we do last week, last year? What's my dream for next year, for tomorrow? That is when the default mode is being activated. And so anytime when we're going to this past, future, pondering, self-reflection, dreaming state, the focus network is less lit up. So if you would put my brain in a brain scanner and I'm sort of dreaming about tomorrow, next year, whatever it might be, or I'm self-reflecting of what this means to me, you would see the default mode network lit up. And to the degree that we're doing that, to that degree, the focus network is not activated. So you can see that, and the opposite is true. As soon as we're focused on an external task, we are fully present in the moment. That is when the task positive network, you would see that lit up in my brain. And to that degree, the default mode is not. So you can see that when people are sort of mind wandering, it's very easy for the brain to get stuck there, because it's always, the networks are anti-correlated. So to the degree one is activated, the other one is not. So when we're focused, we lose the capacity to look at past and future. We lose the capacity to sort of let go and relax. And so it's a very much, it's very tricky, because you can see people that are super focused for long periods of time. They sort of lose the capacity to be connected to other human beings. They lose the capabilities of self-reflection, because they're really just in this moment looking at emails, calendars, PowerPoints, newsletter writing, whatever it might be. So I think the way we can be more focused is to number one, be aware that there's two networks that help us in terms of productivity in very different ways. So the default mode network, that's about dreaming, that's a different way of working. We need both networks to be at our best. We need both networks to be productive. Without the self-reflection and dreaming network being activated, that's where we get our insights, that we're sort of where the wisdom is, where we sort of get sudden ahas. So imagine you're taking a shower, you know, and all of a sudden you're going like, oh, that's the solution to the problem.
Yeah.
That's your default mode. That's when your brain is basically relaxed and you kind of let it wander wherever. But that is when we get sudden insights. And the task positive network is basically when we're sitting at our desk, our computer, and we are just focusing on one thing, which is another way of being productive. But we need both. So I think there is a there is a myth that we are only productive when we're focused. That's actually not true. The more we're focused, the more we are stuck in the task positive network. Over time, we do this too long, we get very uninspired, it gets very dry, we lose our motivation, and it feels like we're sort of burning out. In the default mode, if we're hanging out too much there, what happens is we go to rumination, because the default mode is very much about self-reflection. How do I feel about it? How do others feel about this? And because of that, if we are in the default mode, if that gets activated for too long, there is a tendency and a danger for us to go to could've, should've, would've, why didn't I, this whole space of rumination. So the key to productivity is being able to balance and knowing, what does my brain need when? Do I need to focus now? Or do I need to let go and just go for a walk and let my mind be at rest? And then when I come back and my brain is fresh again, then I can be sort of focused again. But we need both.
That's fair, Ursula. And it's interesting. So, what you're talking about is almost like we need our creative zone or the aha zone, which is what you're calling the default mode network. And then we need our focus because we need to get things done too.
Absolutely.
We cannot keep in the future thinking zone because there is thing that action needs to happen.
Yes.
100%. This makes a lot of sense. What do you think is happening in our brains when we are distracted but not in the default mode? What I mean by that is, let's take an example. So, while I am working on something, I get a Slack message, something that happens very often these days, right? I go onto the Slack message that takes me elsewhere, go check my mail and go do this and go do that. And half an hour passes. And then I realize, oh, I had to finish off that document, right? Now, I'm wondering, this is definitely not the kind of default mode network you're talking about, because this is not me thinking white space, reflection. None of that is happening. What do you think is happening here?
I think it's still like, as soon as we lose this present moment attention and something else is coming in that grabs that attention, our mind sort of starts wandering, even if it's only briefly. Now, if you then look at Slack and you begin to be then very focused on the Slack message, then you are back in the task positive network. So in terms of the brain, there's a very, very quick switching. Now, sometimes we get stuck in one, or sometimes we get stuck in the other. So social media, for example, these little notifications that come in, just taking us out of this present moment attention. Now, as soon as we go back to, let me look at LinkedIn, and now we're focusing on LinkedIn, we're back to focus. But there are these moments when we just lose this intense external focus. And so it's basically a very quick switch. Now, there are obviously strategies in order to not be distracted. I mean, we have technology that, we can switch off. We can switch off notifications. We can switch off our phone. But I think we are in this age that we're in, we're habituated to be distracted. It's a habit. So that then points more to neuroplasticity.
Mhm.
What kind of neural pathways do we have in our brain that really keep us not distracted, that keep us on the road that we're on, that keep us sort of in this focused attention place? But many of us are habituated by these notifications coming in that we need to look at that right now because we want to know what that is. And the reason why this happens is because of dopamine.
Yeah.
Dopamine is the reward neurotransmitter. So anytime we get a notification from Facebook or LinkedIn, there is a sort of curiosity that starts happening. But really the curiosity is about, oh, I wonder who's a new friend, or I wonder who's a new connection. And that's dopamine. And the brain really responds to that. So we get more and more habituated to the things that are rewarding. And social media, unfortunately, is one way for us to get motivated and to have our dopamine hit. So then the question, I guess, is what are we habituated to that is this reward dopamine scenario? And how can we either not do it or sort of put it aside and stay present? Stay present right here, because that is, task positive network is not only about the doing, but it's also about being fully present in the moment.
Yeah.
And one way that the task positive network gets back into presence is through physical awareness, so sensory information. Anything to do with the body brings us into present moment awareness. So
Can
breathing.
you help us understand this? Yeah.
Yeah, breathing, rubbing your hands together, noticing the feet, are they cold? Are they warm? Am I wearing soft socks? What's my sweater doing? What's the air? What's the smell? So anything that's sensory brings us into the task positive network because it requires focused attention to be aware of what's happening in our body. Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it soft? Is it hard? So it's an interesting thing that sensory information and embodiment bring us back into task positive network. It brings us back into the fully present moment, into the doing part, while the default mode is more the social network. That's where we connect with other people. And it's, it's the dreaming network, the social network, and it's where the brain is sort of more at rest.
Yes, and that's why it gets activated, like you had mentioned, in a shower, where we're completely relaxed, and that's when we get our ideas, some of the best ideas. But what you said is very interesting. I hadn't put that together, that anything which is like a sensory experience or realization or awareness is bringing you back into the focus network. That's really interesting.
Well, and from mindfulness training and meditation, people make meditation about many things, but really breathing, a mantra, body scan, what that kind of meditation does, it activates the focus network. So that kind of meditation was designed to help us be more focused. Just even on the breath, letting go of the distractions of the default mode. I mean, if you're sitting in meditation for 20 minutes, you can literally tell, am I here? Am I focusing on my breath, or is my mind gone to lunch? To tomorrow or this weekend? Techniques are really designed to strengthen our task positive network.
That is so true. And I remember, Ursula, you might have heard of Dr. Shirzad Shamin. He has this whole book in positive intelligence. And one of the things that he teaches a lot is what he calls PQ reps. And what you said makes so much sense because one of his PQ reps techniques is to rub your two fingers together. And that basically then, to your point, brings us back into the focus network in the focus zone because it's literally just a simple act of rubbing the two fingers.
Yeah,
And
it's
really
it's now
interesting.
it's like you rub it together. So now what's happening? What are you? I mean, just rubbing your fingers
Feeling
together is not enough.
is not enough, but you think
You
you
need
start
to feel it,
noticing.
right?
Yes,
It's like,
exactly.
okay, what is it? This my fingers are a little sticky, and I wonder what this is. So now you're right here. We're right here, and the default mode is not lit up because
Yeah.
our mind isn't wandering. It's not going
Yeah.
to other
Yeah.
places.
Was a very interesting thing that, yeah, that this is almost like a mini meditation of
Yes.
sorts if you
Yeah.
focus completely
Yeah.
on it.
Interesting side note. I was at the dentist 2 weeks ago. It was a minor thing, but like most people, I'm not particularly keen on going to the dentist. It's not my thing. I don't think it's anybody's thing. If it is your thing, then good for you. It's not mine. And as they were doing, various things in their usual way, one way that I stay present and not go to rumination. I mean, it's okay if my mind wanders and I start dreaming about, my next vacation. I mean, that's lovely. But in the dentist chair, that's not where my default mode is taking me. It's taking me to, oh my God, what's happening now? And how long is this going to take? And oh my mom, running out of patience here. What I do when I lie on the chair, I actually do this.
Oh, that's
Because
interesting.
what it requires me is that now I have to pay attention to my body, and it takes me away from the rumination that wants to happen, that can take me to fear in the dentist chair. So I have started to just have my hands, either on my belly or on my chest or on my lap. And I just either do this or do this or do this. I do something with my hands because it now keeps my focus on my body, not on my teeth. And
Yeah.
it has really worked. It has diminished the tendency to go to faint.
It's amazing.
I know.
When I do, yeah,
You know,
very interesting.
it was like it was so funny. I know, I mean, this is sort of funny example, but as I was lying in the chair, I was going like, well, it's just your default mode. It's like you're starting to ruminate. I could feel myself sliding into, oh my God. And I thought it's default mode. So what you need right now is task positive network. And the only thing I could do, because many dentists now have a screen with the show on. Well, that's very smart, because the patient now needs to look at the show and focus on the renovation show rather than what's going on in here. That is very, very smart. It reduces the stress of being in the dentist chair. And I thought, oh, there's no TV here. So what can I do? And I went like, oh, it's just sensory information. I need to do something with my hands.
How
Or
interesting.
yeah, or when then that stopped working, I thought, well, it's okay, default mode. What can I really dream about that's really like yummy? I want to think about my next vacation. Well, we really want to go to Europe. Or what would that be like? And so again, it takes attention away from the
What's happening?
discomfort of being in it. So you can activate your default mode in a way that's useful. And
Mhm.
there is a downside. And with the task positive network, it's the same. It can be useful and there is a downside. So
Absolutely.
that was my dentist example.
Very interesting. Yeah. And just on that side note, I end up just listening to books. So I
Yeah.
stuff my headphones in my
Yeah.
ear and I'm like, I'm out of this zone.
Yep.
Whatever you want to do, keep doing.
Yeah, no, and that's a good point. I had not taken my earpods with me, but I thought, no, the next time I go, I need to just bring my earpods, because I have meditation
Then you're
tapes and prayer tapes on there, and that will. Now I have to focus on what's happening. So it's a trick. You can trick your brain into all
exactly.
kinds of good things.
Thank you for tuning in. If something landed for you today, try it this week and tell me how it went. If this episode helped, share it with someone who you think needs it. Leave us a rating so that this show reaches everyone it's meant to reach and it's meant for. Till then, Keep building the influence, keep driving the results, and keep having the impact. See you in the next episode.